much tonight. In fact, I wasn't going to get out here and say anything because I knew I'd break down. But I wrote down a few words, and I thought I'd get up here and say them. What can I tell you about my father? Well, he taught me many things, but almost these are the ones that stand out. Responsibility, respect, pride, courage, humility, and purpose. This is what I remember my father by. With these simple traits, you can accomplish anything you want in life. Anything. Look at me. I've done things that my wife would never thought I could do, but I've done just by applying myself. And it's not flesh and blood, but our hearts, which make us father and son.
I need a stool, because that's what he used. Let me tell you something about my brother. You know how many times he told me, you know I'm not your full brother. You know we don't have the same dad. You know why he kept reminding me of that? Because my dad did not treat us any different. He probably whooped my butt just as much as he whooped his. But maybe a little less because he did a little bit more. And when you're number 6, you kind of go, so that's how you don't get caught. There were times I got caught. Sometimes I didn't. Most of the times I did. Like toilet papering when I took his car out, and while in the middle of the toilet papering, I got his car stuck in a big mud pit. I told him, I just drove through a puddle. He just looked at me like, yeah, right. And just with that look, you knew that he knew you were lying. But you know, he just let it go. And I got my first speeding ticket a month after I got my driver's license, which is no surprise because I have a lead foot. Not my fault. Got that from my mom. And I was too afraid, really, to say the least, to tell him. So my mom and I kept it under the radar, but that little thing called mail came in, and he goes, why don't you just tell me? He goes, next time that happens, because he knew there'd be a next time, you just tell me. So he and I were driving from Chicago back to Ohio, and I was driving a car, he was driving a car, and we were like, all right, we're going to stop at this rest area to use the restroom and rest and make sure we're both, getting everywhere safe to check in, because that was before cell phones, so, to stop, check in, and we'll keep going. So I wanted to get there first. Well, I learned a little something today, or that day, and one of them is that the Indiana State Police use a little something called unmarked cars. And you don't fly past them doing 80. And I did just that, and I got a ticket. So you know what? I kept my promise to my dad, and I told him at that rest area. But I was smart. I waited till we were both at the urinal using it. Because I knew there'd be no way he could, when his hands were occupied. But you know what he did? He helped me pay for the ticket. But you know what? What he taught me the most is, the money, the money isn't paying for the ticket. What pays for the ticket are the points you get on your license. That's what's going to pay for your ticket when your insurance goes up, when you're having trouble getting insurance because of that. That's where you pay. So that's the thing. My dad taught me about the real life lessons. And whenever I'd worry about something, he would, a lot of times, like the song. Why did I pick that song? Because as that was going, that tune was going through my head, because my sister's got a clock that plays it. And then I remembered something my dad said. Just let it be. Let it be. Just let it be. And you know what? He's right. As my son sat out there and said, Dad, I'm getting married in a couple of months and I'm just a worker, and what if something's just not right? And I just smiled and I said, what did I say? Just enjoy the roller coaster ride. Just like Dad would have said. Just enjoy the ride. 20 years ago, I'd have been sweating bullets right along with him. I don't know what we're going to do. 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 Now it's, dude, do what you can about the things you can do and enjoy the ride. If you're planning and something doesn't go right, like you two, enjoy the ride. Because they were both surprises. But a welcome one, and I would not change a thing for it. Talk about sacrifice. My dad sacrificed the relationship he had with his church to marry my mom. That's sacrifice. His last words. His last words to me were, I love you. You take care of them boys. Because I did what he did. I married a young woman who had 2 little boys. And I'm taking care of them. Just like I'm taking care of mine. And we're all family. She calls them my little brothers. Christian, those are my brothers. Austin and Zach, that's my brother and my sister. They're not my steps. They're family. And I take care of them just like they're my own. I put them in the corner just like they're my own. I take away their video games just like they're my own. And at first they thought I was being too hard on them until they heard me on the phone raise my voice with this one right here. And they looked at their mom and goes, holy cow, he gets mad at them too. And she said, yeah, you know why? Because he loves you guys. And he wants what's best for you. If he didn't care, he wouldn't say anything. He cared. And that's why he said something. He cared. That's why he punished us. He cared. That's why he took the time to give us speeches. And I care. That's why I give you guys 20-minute speeches. And you would rather have a spanking than have a speech. Take care of the boys. Responsibility. Because you got to take care of the things that you can take care of. Everything else, enjoy the ride. We sat at Michaela's funeral together, and we sat down next to each other, and he said, you know what I want? I don't want anything else at my memorial service but a bunch of red roses just sitting in a vase in the back, just like that. That's all I want. There you go. It was simple, wasn't flashy. When I got my first pair of Nikes, I said, man, I love my Nike shoes. And he goes, I like my off-brand Kmart shoes. Because he wasn't always about style. He didn't care about the latest fashion. He didn't care about having the latest designer. He just, if it fit, he wore it. And sometimes if it didn't fit, he still wore it. I remember my wife said to him, we took him to Walmart a couple of years ago, and I never thought I'd hear myself say it. Before we go into Walmart, she's like, Dad, button your shirt. He buttoned one button. It's fine. But you know what? Because there are more important things to be worried about. More important things he cared about. And he sacrificed a lot. He taught me a lot of stuff. In the last few months, I really got to know him. I spent a lot of time on the phone with him. We traded letters, we traded emails, we talked, we tried to get on the phone as much as possible and just chew the fat and learn stuff about Croatia and ask lots of questions about Croatia. And we just talked a lot. And those are good things because you just never know. And I tried to get here as fast as I could, but responsibility. He said he had to be here. He had to stick around because if he was here past the first of the year, then Mom can get the Social Security check. And he stuck around. Responsibility. Taking care and thinking of others. So, I didn't know a lot what I'd have to say. I spent a lot of time up with Christian and Tim. I say that because Janice has been calling me Donnie and him Tim for some weird reason the last 2 days. So I'm beginning to think like she has dyslexia or Tourette's or something. I have no idea what's going on in her brain, you know. But I sat up with him and we told stories, and I jotted those stories down. And I rattled off something about corn nuts and it rhymed, and they chuckled, and I said, all right, we're doing Dr. Seuss, let's go. And we sat up till 3, 4 in the morning putting that stuff down, and then I typed it up and made it all nice for him to read. So hopefully the goal is to actually get it in print somehow, get some nice photos in there, and maybe try to make it available. So we'll see what we can do. So, hey, Kickstarter, woohoo, that's what that's for, right? Well, I'm just glad everyone got a chance to come out and share a little bit with us, and I got a chance to see people that I haven't seen in a long time, and because I haven't seen in a long time, they probably didn't recognize me, and I didn't recognize them, so I appreciate you reminding me of who you are. I thank you for that. So I also thank you for all the support you've given the family and all the support and love you've given everyone. This has been a very warm time, and it's good to see my brother get up, you know, because if you have a camera, take a picture of him because you will never see him in a suit again. It's good to see Pam and Janice smiling. It's good to see Mary smiling. It really is. You'll get a chance to see them all smiling. And Donna, I know you're going to see this later. You're going to be smiling. But we had a lot of fun growing up. There was love-hate relationship at times, and we love each other. We'd throw each other down the stairs, we'd smack each other around with stuff. But when somebody crossed one of us, oh boy, we'd fight for one another, because that's one thing Dad said, you stick together, because that's family. I told my kids the same thing. Friends will come, friends will go, but your family, it's all you got. So stop picking on your sister. So I want to thank Pastor Ron for everything he's done and setting this up. It's been great. Thank you very much for coming out. And I'll close this out.
Again, I tell you what a blessing it is to me to hear the children and grandchildren laugh and just bend over laughing from the great memories you have of your family. I hope you will never ever forget that. I just want to close our time together before our last song by reading you a scripture that I'm hoping you'll be able to remember. Down the road, when this day is gone, it's in 2 Corinthians chapter 1, between verses 3 and 11. It's a passage about God and who God is and how God can help us during times like this. 2 Corinthians 1:3. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies and the God of all comfort,